Welcome to the Real Estate Debate, where we debate the hottest topics in San Diego real estate and guarantee to make you smarter than everyone else. Let's meet today's panelists.
Hello everyone, my name is Priscila Rodriguez and I'm your San Diego property matchmaker with Manalo Realty.
Hi, my name is Steve Brant. I'm a downtown San Diego broker with Keller Williams International. I run a team called Brant Regency Estates and Homes, and I just want to remind everyone that the camera does add 10 pounds, so I'm much slimmer in person.
I am Sean Cahan with Cornerstone Mortgage Group, and I'm your mortgage geek.
Hi, I'm Bill Morton. I'm with Century 21 Award in Mission Valley.
All right, it's time for the Real Estate Debate for TV. Mr. Cahan, my co-host, how you doing, man?
Good. How are you doing today?
Great to have you here. The mortgage geek, Sean Cahan, is here.
All right.
A little bit different format than on the radio here on TV for the Real Estate Debate, but the same ideas. Great real estate content, great real estate discussions you can't get anywhere else. So let's jump right in to agree or disagree. All right. Our panelists today will tell us whether they agree or disagree with the given statement and defend their position. The article that we're referencing said that renting is actually better than buying in San Diego. So today's statement is, with home values in San Diego near record highs, it probably makes more sense to rent than it does to buy for most people. Steve?
I would love to jump in on this. A couple things I want to point out. One, I reference back to 2005 because that's when we had the height of the market for San Diego. The affordability index back then was 11%. The affordability index now is 26%, which is still a little low. You really want that to be closer to 50%. That's an equal market. But I still think it depends on where you are located in the county, because if you're paying rent more than what a mortgage payment would be, you should be buying.
Okay. Plain and simple.
Plain and simple.
Just keep it simple, huh?
Keep it simple, because you also have the mortgage deduction, the tax deduction, which Sean can talk about.
Yeah,
too.
what do you think about that, Sean?
I think that's a perfect statement. Not always just, even dollar to dollar out of pocket.
Mm-hmm.
We always want to take into consideration like amortization schedules, tax savings. Just all in all, yes, when you buy an asset, you're going to be spending a little bit more money, but is it reasonable? And so that's what we kind of look at it.
Okay, so see what the difference is potentially if the mortgage payment's more, and then see if that amount of extra money is worth the investment into the property.
I think a lot of people look at the home as more like, oh, this is my house. Well, let's also look at it as an asset. It's an asset. It's the same thing as putting money into a 401k. A 401k starts at zero and goes up. A mortgage, I'm giving you $400,000 and you're going to pay it off.
Yeah, makes sense. Bill, what do you think about what Trulia had to say on this?
I disagree with Trulia.
Just in general?
Just in general. and maybe Zillow, but we'll get into that later. But I definitely think it is a good time to buy. I foresee, and actually, the numbers actually still show it. Rents are going to continue to rise.
True.
The only way to stop it is to purchase a property and stop that threshold from rising.
Yeah.
And right now is the time to do it. Especially right now because we're encroaching in the holidays, and the numbers are down a little bit, just a little bit for the buyers. But that's a good thing for the buyers because they can get out there and purchase a property and not have quite the competition that you will during the peak season.
Yeah, makes sense. I actually wrote an article, I just remember this, for the Union Tribune real estate section, and it was called Buying a Home is a Hedge and Not an Investment. And the concept was just what you said, was to protect yourself from having to deal with the ups and downs of rents, because you really don't know what's happening with them, but they've gone up a lot in recent history, so good stuff.
Well, you're either paying your mortgage or someone else's mortgage.
That's true.
So you can take a look at that. And it also depends if you're going to be long-term player in the market. If you're saying, I'm only going to be in San Diego for a year or two, probably better to rent.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're thinking you're going to be here for any length of time, like I would say over 5 years, you should be buying.
Okay. Priscilla, time to jump in.
Thank you. Yeah, I would agree. If you're thinking about purchasing, it's definitely something long-term. If you want to rent, it's a short-term mentality where you're just looking at that payment today, what is cheaper. When you're buying a home, you are also buying an asset. We're also counting on that appreciation growth and the tax benefits that you would get in the pride of ownership as well, not to forget, when you do own a home versus renting, I believe.
Okay. Well, I think the concept behind the article of it being cheaper to rent versus buy is kind of usually the case. I mean, it's just on a dollar for dollar basis, money out of pocket. It's anyone can go get a lease somewhere and pay a couple $1,000
Yes.
and rent a place. But not everyone can qualify to buy because you have to qualify for a loan.
Correct.
You have to have money to put down, although that's been decreasing a lot lately. Sean, let me ask you this question, because this is the thing that I think is really interesting about this market today. A lot of people think it's inflated, but money. If money is easy to get, we always see prices go up. The easier money is for people to borrow, the higher prices go. Right now, do you think money is getting easier for people to get, to borrow?
Absolutely.
In what way?
No question.
Like in programs or just down payments or both?
Well, I mean, down payments have only changed a little bit. 2014, I think. 2013, I think they got rid of the 3% down conventional, and then they brought it back, right? But only for first-time home buyers. So that has, and then the really kind of like the 95% market has always been there for first and seconds. But it's more of like the restrictions and the guides that have kind of gotten a little bit looser. Fannie Mae's, not requiring any 30% equity in your property, no 2055 to base the value of the 30% to make sure that you can qualify for this payment and the other one, right? So you can offset it with a lease now.
Which
Freddie
is amazing.
Mac.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That's a loose guideline change that people don't really see. They just kind of gloss over
With
it.
2106 expense, Fannie Mae got rid of all 2106 against your income. That would happen in July, so that was huge, right?
That's another huge one.
And now a lot of the banks are not always accepting it because, on a buyback system, but like our bank, yes. I mean, we follow it to a T. So that was huge. I mean, a lot of borrowers didn't even know that they were writing off 2106 expense, right? And they're like, what is it? I'm like, well, your income just got decreased by $10,000, So, and then Freddie Mac is coming out with some cool changes too.
So you think it's definitely gotten looser. It sounds like there's a lot there that has changed, that has made lending looser, and that in itself kind of tips us off to
I think it's driving.
what's happening. Yeah, it's sort of driving the market right now and keeping it buoyed. All right, that means it's time for topic number 2. Time for hot or not so hot. So each contestant will tell us about a specific area in San Diego which they believe is either hot or not so hot. Bill, we'll start with you.
I like North Claremont. The numbers have slowed down, but they were extremely strong up until August. Right now we're seeing 43 to 45 pendings as well as properties that are active. Very low compared to the amount of properties that are there. I just actually opened escrow in regards to a property for a flipper, and he's actually looking for more properties to buy. So if anybody has any properties that they're looking to sell that might be a little bit dilapidated and they just want to walk away from them, I have lots and lots of buyers looking to purchase in that area.
Okay, North Claremont.
North Claremont.
Okay, big area.
I think Rancho Santa Fe is not so hot right now.
Not so hot.
Not so hot.
RSF, not so
I know.
hot?
Can you believe that?
All right.
So I went through and took a look at some numbers. That's how I came up with that, because I saw that there was a ton of expireds, canceled, and withdrawns. And what that means is that the property was put on the market and then failed to sell for whatever reason. Then I looked back and I went back, well, let me go back to 2005 when numbers were supposed to be so great.
Right.
The difference in price point is that we're the average price point in that area was about 2.7 million. Right now it's about 2.2. So you're down about 500,000. You're up in days on market in that area by around 20 to 40%. The inventory that's being sold is down. The inventory that's on the market is up. So you have all these little factors that are playing together. And then I looked at downtown because that's where my home turf is, where I do most of my business. And downtown between 2005 and 2015, we're way up. We're up almost $200,000 per unit. Price point, and the average number of sales is, I think we had 596 units in the last 6 months, and in 2005 it was 493. So we're way up.
So a lot of transactions taking place
Hot
in
in downtown San Diego, and then I looked at Rancho Santa Fe. I'm like, why is it so slow up there? And I just think that price point of being 1.5 to 1.8 million, we just don't have a ton of buyers yet that are in San Diego that are buying at that price point.
Okay.
And then they're also competing with a lot of other high-end areas.
Yeah, if you're spending $1.5 million, you got a lot of options.
You got a lot of options in San Diego.
Priscilla?
I would say what's hot right now is still Eastlake, Chula Vista, where I focus on. We are still down 15 to 20%. I know that since I definitely have my property on the market right now, and at the peak in 2005, it sold for $950, and right now it's listed at $775. So I know, I almost feel like maybe I should still hold on to it for another couple of years until that market just corrects itself, but timing is everything. So I will have to say overall, South Bay, and especially in the east, newer area where we have Eastlake Greens, Otay Ranch, that was built at the peak. So we were slammed, meaning that we still have a lot of equity growth that still is there and ready for the people that are ready to buy right now.
Okay, so that says something. When you have your own house for sale, right? I mean, that tells you something.
I got a question for you, Steve.
Okay, great answer.
Okay, you say that downtown is a hot market.
Yes, sir.
Is there a specific dollar amount? Because some of the research that I've done in the $1.3 million in uprange downtown has not been so hot.
I'm glad you asked that question, because there's going to be an interesting test that's going to go on, probably starting in November. And the reason why I say that is because there's a new building that's coming on the market right around that time. It's called the Pacific Gate. If anyone's interested in information on that, I can provide that to you. But it's called the Super Luxury, and it's one of the few. It's the only one we have in San Diego. It's one of the few that we even have on the West Coast. And the starting price points are going to be at $1 million, and that's for the one bedrooms. So that will be
$1,000 a square foot, right?
a little bit. They haven't declared yet, but they might even go north of that.
Okay.
Which would be amazing for downtown San Diego and help to dictate what the rest of the market might do downtown.
Good question, Sean.
Good question.
We should get the sock cam going at some point
He's
today.
got
'Cause Sean, let's see those socks. Get them up, man. There they are.
Very nice.
Kaboom! Sock cam action
like
happening
it.
right here.
That's a loan geek right there.
That's
a loan.
yeah. Mortgage geek.
Mortgage geek.
Mortgage
Okay.
geek. Yeah, we're not talking about
Sorry.
payday loans and all that stuff. Mortgage geek. All right. Let's get to hostility versus the host. This is the segment where our panelists have the chance to attack me in an attempt to defy my grievance with the world of real estate. Today, I'd like to air my concerns about Zillow.com. Not just that Zillow is providing bad information, but they are being supported financially by many agents in the marketplace. Please tell me how an agent could justify supporting an organization that purposely generates inaccurate information for consumers in the name of profit. Anyone want to take that one?
Wow, it's a hot topic you brought up. I am going to take that on.
Take it.
I don't agree 100% with your position. I do think Zillow is full of very sharp people. I don't think their information is necessarily that accurate, so you're right on that point. But I do think they have opened up the market to a lot more information that was being before than what was being presented by, let's say, Realtor.com or other online entities. So for that, I'm glad that they are opening the market with more information, because I think as realtors, we need to focus on what's best for the consumer and how can we get more information to them. So I'd like to see us take a stronger role in that. But with Zillow, I think it's going to be an uphill battle. And I think it's strange that you do see agents funding a cause that I don't know where that's going to lead to for us as an industry. And ultimately, consumers benefit when there is someone that they can turn to for advice. And if that turns to some central body that's not in the market, it's going to have a hard time really explaining what's going on.
Yeah, and that's kind of the way I feel about it right now. Priscilla, what do you think?
I think right now there's a paradigm shift in a lot of businesses, and in our industry it's getting that through Zillow and Trillia. We have the taxi and the Uber, we have the hotels and the Airbnb. So I almost feel like when it comes to Zillow and Trillia that are now at our forefront, as agents we have to kind of be where the consumers are, and the consumers are right now on Zillow. They had to go on to Realtor.com to look at properties. They had no other option. Now they love going to Zillow. They love going to Trillia, meaning that, I used to spend time putting people on drip search on the MLS. Now I'm getting emails from Trillia and Zillow, meaning that I have to go to that source, see where they're picking up that information. Are they ever going to not need agents or not need our service? That's not going to be an issue, but I just think if they made the platform more consumer based, then that's kind of where we're going to have to go to.
I think there are some major changes to be had, but going back into Zillow, the amazing thing is we get a lot of agents, they hate it. However,
Are you one of those agents, Bill?
actually, I don't hate it. I love Zillow for one fact. It puts consumers with agents.
Okay.
Its information is inaccurate. Everybody knows the Zestimate is inaccurate. I don't know if it's been said, but it's basically based on an algorithm. Zillow sells that information to agents. Because Zillow promises a certain amount of leads, basically, or exposures to their platform, they adjust the algorithm so agents can get those views. So the Zestimate is definitely inaccurate. However, the good part about Zillow is it puts the consumer in contact with agents,
Right.
which is always good. And as long as you get a great agent that is pro-consumer, they're going to work very, very hard for you and find you a property at a great deal.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Sean?
Oh man.
I can't
mean,
let you off the hook
I have
again.
a huge opinion about this.
Please tell us.
Let's hear it.
It is a consumer safe haven. They go there, they trust it, they feel comfortable with it. It's very easy to use. Before Zillow, before Trulia, before Redfin, what did you have? MLS? Nope, couldn't access it. Realtor.com? Nope, couldn't access it. Go on to someone's webpage, oh, maybe they only had 8 or 10 listings. They didn't have access. It's a consumer safe. Okay, yeah, the estimates are not right, but guess what? It makes them feel better, so
Yeah.
it doesn't really matter. Now, second, agents funding Zillow. How else are they supposed to fund it? How else are they supposed to bring out the new technology if they don't have people funding it? So if you don't like it, then don't be on Zillow. If you like it and you support it, even if you don't like it. So if you're like going on there and only wanting to spend $500 a month on, as you can tell, I really have opinion about it.
Oh, no, I love it.
If you want to go on there and only spend $500 a month and give it a 6-month crack and you don't follow up on your leads, guess what? You're not going to close anything. Okay? That's the same thing as paper mail. If you only want to do $1,000 on a farm of 500 people and you want to do it for 6 weeks, well, why don't you just give me the money for free? Because you didn't do anything. It takes longevity. It takes follow-up, right? And so Zillow is just another place. Truly, it's a great place. I mean, I pump a ton of stuff in there. I'm #1 on Zillow for the lowest jumbo rates. But guess what? Now we've stuck in there. I mean, we're getting a lot of applications.
Really?
If you guys saw how many actual closings that I'm getting directly from Zillow, you guys would be, shocked. But we have a follow-up. You have to make contact within 5 minutes. It's working. It's working very, very well because consumers love it.
That's good stuff. Really good stuff. So different
Sorry, you guys.
opinions on Zillow. No, I think that's great because you're right. It is a consumer safe haven, and the consumer feels safe there. And are they really going to get harmed there? Maybe they won't get harmed there. They're not going to go there and make a bad deal, but they are going to go there and potentially get bad information that might disappoint them or something like that with regard to properties that are for sale or not for sale and that type of thing. But they're not going to get harmed. So it's probably not, at the end of the day, it is probably a net positive if you're able to connect those consumers with the right people in the marketplace.
It can be a time waster though. That to me is the big rub that I have with it, because I have to set up a separate search outside of Zillow. Even if someone's looking at Zillow, I said, you can look at those properties, but the ones that I'm sending you are the actual ones that are available that fit your criteria. And so a lot of times they'll say, well, I'm looking at this one at Zillow, and then we'll find out that it's either off the market, wasn't listed, was someone trying to
Sold a year ago.
that kind of thing. So
They're excited. Your clients are excited. They want to be hands-on. I've come to realize.
no, I love that too.
Yeah.
I love the fact that they are doing that. But what I'm saying is that you want to have, when someone's looking for a house, they could spend 8 hours in the car with me, or we could go to the 4 properties that specifically meet their criteria.
Yeah.
And I'm a fun guy to spend time with, but I'm sure they would rather spend the time just going directly to those 4 properties. And so the whole Zillow, I mean, I love the consumer has access, but I think Realtor.com has gotten their act together, and they've started to open up all the data. So the same data that you're seeing on Zillow is available at Realtor.com and other portals. Even our website has the exact same MLS information that you'll see on Zillow, and statistics and data for the community. So I think there's a information equilibrium out there. They just happen to be the big dogs on the market that are spending the money.
Okay.
But it's not equal.
How so?
Well, the MLS is not posting all their information on Trulia or Zillow anymore because they went over to Zillow or Realtor.com, because the owner of Realtor.com has a portion of Sandicor right now, and so they actually blocked them out, and all the information now is going over. So it's costing Zillow and Trulia more money right now and getting access to getting that information. They used to forward it automatically in there, so it's not equal anymore.
Well, because the whole point was that agents were able to advertise their property, and Zillow was hijacking those listings and selling those listings off to other agents. So that's why they did that. They didn't do it because they don't want to limit the information to the consumer. They want to do the opposite. They want to make sure the consumer has all the data and all the listings. But when you're hijacking that listing from someone, that's not fair.
Woo! That's the real estate debate. You are now smarter than everyone else. Thanks for watching right here, and go to therealestatedebate.com for past episodes. Steve, thanks for coming today, man.
It's been a pleasure.
Really appreciate your time. Priscilla, thank you so much for coming today. Bill, thanks for coming in. Sean, Mortgage Geek Sean, thanks for coming in, man. Really appreciate your time. All right, that's it. Okay, great. Great show, guys. That's a wrap. Jade, what's your schedule look like? Do you mind breaking down the set?
Not today, Derek. I'd love to, but there's waves out there. I gotta go. Angela? Nikki?
Yeah, I gotta go beat traffic. And I think Nikki's making something up there.